Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:03. We're almost on time today. And before I get started, I would just like to say we have a board member. Mr. Sherman is not here today. He's out of town, so everything's okay, but he won't be joining us this evening. The board did meet in closed session, and we have no reportable actions. If you could please stand and join me in a pledge to our flag. Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up, we have our public comment. Per board policy 2350, any person may address the board at this time, either on an agenda item or other matters of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. A maximum of 5 minutes is allowed per speaker, with a maximum of 15 minutes, unless otherwise extended. Do we have any public comments, items on the agenda? Any public comments regarding items not on the agenda? Nope, okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our board and executive staff reports. Any board member reports? John, Ken, Earl, anything to report? I guess we've kind of been on vacation too a little bit. Mr. Foster, do you have a foundation report?
Hello, everyone. I just have a couple quick announcements I'd like to make. First, I'd like to publicly announce our Hall of Fame honorees that we will be honoring this October 8th. We are going to be honoring Miss Connie Conway. She's a former California State Assembly member and Assembly leader. Mr. Chuck Forsyth, a COS alum and a community leader in the city of Hanford. Mr. Tom Gilchrist, former COS men's and women's basketball coach. And the 1987 McFarland men's cross-country team members that attended COS, 5 in total, and were portrayed in the recent Disney movie, McFarland USA. So if anyone knows Mr. Costner and can get him to attend, I think that would boost ticket sales.
He went to Mount Whitney.
He went to Whitney. Any Whitney alums?
No kidding. October 8th, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
October 8th at 6 p.m. You will get an invitation.
Okay.
Also, speaking of the Porter Field House, we just finished the largest funded project for the 2015-2016 cycle, improving the acoustics inside the Porter Field House.
Nice.
It was about a $50,000 project. And I just want to offer a big thanks to Byron Woods and Brent Davis for working so quickly to clear the facility calendar and to get the contractor in and complete the project before the Hall of Fame event. And so I understand the acoustics are much better.
Good.
And so I can't wait to have an event there. Let's see. Also, the 2014-2015 funding cycle ended at July 31st. And we had some of the projects that didn't need all the funding. So either they turned out and they didn't complete the project, or the project just came under budget. And it accounted for $51,000 of the 209 total funding of the projects. So those unspent funds, 24,000 were carried over into those same projects and given an extension of sorts to continue to use those funds. And then the remaining, we actually pulled projects from the 2015-2016 cycle that went unfunded with the original amount, and we added some more projects to fund. So I just wanted to let you folks know this is sort of our first time in this new cycle of RFPs and funding the projects and them having a year to do it. And so just understand that the mechanism now is to make sure that the foundation doesn't just take that money and keep it and hang on to it. We turn around and quickly find ways to improve the funding to the college and for student benefit, and to align with the strategic objectives as evaluated by the RFP evaluation process that we already have in place. So it was really easy to pick the next ones on that list that fit the amount and the priorities and the desires on the part of the foundation to diversify the awards through the college, both geographically and programmatically and that type of thing.
Great.
So it's very exciting to see those go. And then our upcoming event dates, we have the Crush Party at the Tulare College Center on September 25th, starting at 5:30. And we have the Hall of Fame on October 8th, starting at 6 p.m. at the Porter Fieldhouse.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, board members? Thanks. I have had a few people request tickets for the Crushed. And if they don't do online, can I just collect their money and bring them tickets?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Or they can call Sylvia.
They can call Sylvia. Okay, I'll give them their number. Accreditation report, Dr. Lucerna.
Hi, everybody. As you know, we have our midterm report due in October, so we're working on the draft of that report, and it will be going through the governance process at our first meetings here for the District Governance Senate and the Academic Senate in August and September, so it'll be coming to the board in the next meetings. And in addition, I think I shared at the last meeting, but I wanted to let you know that I am going to be on a site visit team for Chabot College. So I'll be going to the training on September 2nd and then going on the site visit the first week in October. So I'm looking forward to seeing the other side of the accreditation process, and we're getting even more experience here at the college from both sides of
It's
it.
a lot
So
better looking from that other side.
I know, I can't wait to see it from the other side. So, any questions?
No, thank you. Any questions, board members? Nope, thank you very much. Our superintendent president's report, Mr. Kirasosi.
I'd like to give my time this evening to make a brief report for all of you. You'll recall last meeting, we took the opportunity to share with you the annual report to the board on the district objectives from 2014-15. And we had some questions arise about the information we reported on those objectives, even though they're the outgoing objectives and they've now been replaced by new objectives in the new strategic plan. There were some questions, especially about the efforts we were making to increase contacts with students, remember, with their counselors. And we told you that we would dig a little deeper and provide some context. So Brent is here this evening to carry that out and give you a couple of slides explaining the results of those initial, the results of that initial report that we gave you.
Thank you, Stan. I want to thank the board for their patience. After the July meeting, we did go back just to review our data because there just were too many inconsistencies with the number of counselor contacts. Starting in fall 12 and for the 5 or 6 semesters since then that we were tracking. So we went back and we did find a coding issue. For the last 3 semesters, we weren't picking up counselors in special programs like EOP&S. And as you know, we have quite a number of counselors in special programs, and that was skewing our data. So we went back and changed the coding, first of all, so that we should be good going forward. But as a double check, we went and hand-checked, manually checked our SARS grid, which is an acronym for our software program that tracks our counselors' time. And it matched up. And when we ran it with the new coding and when we did it manually by hand, it matched up. And here's the district objective we were talking about: provide a level of counseling and library services for all district students that is equitable across the sites, the instruction and delivery modalities. So this is the chart that was giving us trouble last time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about it, but if we'll just look at the bottom line, all our total counseling appointments, you'll recall that fall 12 and spring 13 started out high, and then we started to sort of go downhill, and we couldn't figure that out. You'll see now that we are on a steady increase, particularly fall to fall 12 to fall 13, we went from 9,000 to 10,200, and in spring of 13 to spring of 14, we went from 9,075 all the way up to 11,256. It sort of begs the question, though, in fall of 14, why did we come back down? We had fall of 13, 10,261 counselor contacts, and then we dipped down to 9,727. And initially, we were tempted just to chalk that up to the 4 or 5% decrease in headcount from fall to fall. But we actually dug a little deeper and thought about it a little bit, and we said, you know what, spring of 14 is a huge number. Actually went up by 2,100 students from spring of 13 to spring of 14. And that's when the majority of our incoming freshmen get their counseling appointments. And so rather than having to wait until summer or fall to get their counseling appointments, I think we're knocking more students out, incoming students out in the spring. And so that's why we dipped a little bit in fall, not counting the fact also that our summer offerings for summer of 14 were 991. That's not shown in your chart, but summer 14 counseling appointments was 991, whereas in the summer of 13, we were just starting to bring summer back, and it was only 562. So when we add up spring 13, summer 13, and fall 13, it's 1,898 counseling appointments. When we take that same 3-semester term for 14, spring 14, summer 14, and fall 14, we've got almost 22,000. That's an increase of 10%. So we really do believe this district objective has served us well. It's pushed us to see more students. We've revamped the way we do things every spring with our STEPS program, students transitioning enrollment process. And I think just the simple fact that we're seeing more incoming freshmen when they're still seniors, that final spring of their senior year, we're seeing more in the spring. And then we brought back summer, so we're seeing more students in the summer than we have over the last few years. That's causing a little bit of a dip in our fall, but again, not much. We really, again, we could have chalked it up to just a loss in head count, but we didn't. We dug deeper and found out that there's been a significant increase these last couple of years. Any questions on district objective 3 before I move on to district objective number 5?
Very helpful, thank you.
So moving over to district objective 5. This was the one that had us piloting a program of deliberate counseling in which counselors would visit English classes simply to encourage them to see a counselor. And initially we were tracking this by total number of counseling appointments. Basically the data was similar to what I just showed you for district objective number 3. And we could have left that there, but in talking with Dolly and his research department, we felt like that wasn't really a good indicator of whether or not this district objective did what it was supposed to do. Really what we're interested in is how many classes received this treatment and did behaviors change because of it. And what we found is behaviors did change. You'll see in fall of 12, we had 252 English 360 students. 115 of them saw a counselor in the fall term after that visit, and 28 of them saw a counselor in the spring term following that visit, for a total of 57%. Following that same logic, in fall of 2013, out of a total of 249 students, 67% saw a counselor immediately after that visit in the fall or in the spring. And then that number grew out of 229 students that received the treatment in fall of 14. The percentage grew to 78% that saw a counselor immediately after that visit in the fall or in the spring term. Dolly was quick to point out as well that when he was putting these cohorts, if you will, together, he realized that even prior to the visit, upwards of 70 to 75% of all these students had seen a counselor already. So we feel like with Achieving the Dream and some of the mandates that we have in there, we're forcing students to go see a counselor to get their student ed plan. And so even without this district objective, we felt like we were pushing students in the right direction. This just did it that much more. It was that much more of an encouragement to visit classrooms and have students go see a counselor. So we were encouraged over a 3-year period. We went from 57% to 67% to 78% students that saw a counselor after being visited by a counselor in their English class. Any questions regarding district objective number 5?
Any questions? I'm satisfied. Thank you for that update.
Well, thank you very much for your time and for asking me the hard questions back in July.
Thank you.
Now on to something a little less complicated. I want to give, where'd she go? I want to give Dr. Lacerna the microphone again so that she can do the honors in helping us introduce some new full-time faculty who are here.
Michelle can introduce first. Yeah, okay, so Michelle's first because Maria's first on the list.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah. I have Maria Hamid first, right? For the new full-time faculty.
Right.
So Maria is the counselor.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah. Michelle-
I was confusing, I was
Maria.
confusing Michelle with number 4. Okay. Go, Michelle. You go.
Self-introduction.
Should I just start with me? No. Good evening, everyone. I have the exquisite pleasure of standing here with Maria Hamid, who has spent many years in dedication to the College of the Sequoias as an adjunct with a determination to take care of our students and put students first in a lot of different ways. She's done so in many different offices, but always with the capacity of a smile and always with the capacity to go above and beyond. And it is our honor and our pleasure to receive her as a full-time faculty member, as a AAC counselor. She's been waiting a long time, and we're very excited to welcome her.
Okay.
Welcome, Maria.
Thank you.
We won't put you on the spot.
Any questions for Maria before we start? Okay, so I apologize, you guys. That confusion was because Maria was on the student services side and Michelle's coming up later. We also have several academic faculty, and Dr. Wellner is going to introduce the first two. I just wanted to point out that we've been introducing the academic faculty that have been hired since the spring because some were here, some have moved from other places, and they couldn't be here in the May meeting. And we've had a few that were hired over the summer that we introduced. So this rounds up our group of full-time faculty that we've hired. And the first two that Dr. Wellner is going to hire, we had 2 late retirements in our career technical education area, and so we are lucky to have hired 2 full-time temporary faculty that will be with us for the year to replace those 2 retirements. And so Dr. Wellner will introduce them.
Well, I'm going to ask my 2 faculty to come up and join me, and we'll introduce them. I'll start just as it's listed on the sheet there. Ramyar Mogadam, and I'll let him come up and pronounce his name correctly because he's given me the permission just to call him Rami. My southern accent just didn't work. But I'm pleased to have Rami here. He is our information communication technology or information technology position. So we're very excited to have him. He has most recently been working as an assistant professor in the School of Engineering and Information Sciences, teaching information systems at DeVry University, so that makes him well-suited, well-qualified for our particular position. He has a bachelor's degree in accounting from Fresno State University, but he also worked...
That's got to be good.
There we go, absolutely. He's local, Fresno State. He is, however, worked and began working in accounting in industry, but they quickly saw his skill and ability, and whether he wanted to or not, I think we talked about in the interview, he went over and started working in the information technology area within his particular company. He went on to get a Master of Science at Boston University in Information Systems with a concentration in systems security, which is very important in a direction we're trying to go in that particular program, and is completing a PhD, or will have completed a PhD from Capella University maybe in 2017, if we don't work him too hard, with a major in information technology And his dissertation is Cloud Computing Adoption and Usage in Nonprofit Organizations. So that's pretty exciting for this particular position. We're excited to have Rami here. He brings lots of expertise, lots of industry experience, lots of connections with industry, and I think that works very well in our information technology division, specifically in our career technical education. So I'll give him the opportunity, and if you'd please help me in welcoming him.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that I consider it a great honor to be in this position, and I look forward to changing the lives of students and training future business and IT professionals. Thank you.
Welcome. Do we have any questions? Sometimes we question you, so they're easy, but
There's the door, quick.
he walked away really quick. He must have known that.
No, that's okay. I'm willing to answer questions if you have one.
As if we understood what he did.
Yeah, I know. That's probably why we're stumped.
They want to know from your study of the cloud computing, is the drought going to end this year?
Well,
No, that was a joke. That was a joke.
I wish the two were related in some way.
Okay.
Typically, we just ask if you have any goals, or now if you've been aboard long enough to see what and assessed what's here, do you have any immediate goals that you could share with the board on what you'd like to do in your position?
Actually, I would, because I think that one of the biggest things that is missing from my experience as an educator and in industry is the fact that students don't really realize that getting a degree is just part of the equation. And they need to also be taught how to bridge that to a career in their particular field. Oftentimes I have this conversation with my students where, do you really understand what it is that you're majoring in? Are you going to be really happy doing that particular profession? What do you need about it? What do you know about it? Is it just because your parents think it's great, or does it make a lot of money? All those things don't really matter if you don't really enjoy it. You have to have sort of a passion for it, and the only way you're going to figure that out is if you start working in the field right from day one. And so I think that's sort of the direction I always take my students, and try to help them get outside connections so that they can turn that degree into
A real paying job.
Yeah.
And his parents will say thank you.
Parents everywhere thank us. Yeah.
Thank
There we go.
you.
High five for my career technical education. Right. Very
Thank you.
good. The second faculty member that I have the pleasure of introducing is Mr. William Riley, or Bill Riley, and he's no stranger to COS. He's worked as an adjunct in our environmental control technology for about 16 years, I think since 1999. So he's no stranger to COS, he's no stranger to teaching. He has a BS degree from Fresno State in industrial technology, emphasis in electronics and electricity. He has an associate's degree from Reedley College, and he's got his credentials as CBEST and vocational education credential. He worked prior to, in between industry types of jobs, he worked at TCOVE, Tulare County Organization for Vocational Education, that we're all familiar with, in this same area of HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning area. So we're excited. He has lots of teaching experience, both with us and prior to us. But he also has worked and owned his own business. It's Dr. Riley's Major Appliance Repair out of Kingsburg. And he's done his own business for the past 15, 16 years as well. So he's very respected. When I had the opportunity to call people on Mr. Riley, just very well respected in the community, very well respected in the industry. Talked with industry folks, and they said, this is our guy. He can both teach and he knows the industry. He knows what we need. And so it's a great combination. I am thrilled to have Bill Riley join us full time. Again, he's been teaching the same type of curriculum along with Alec Hurtado at nights for 16 years, but this is his opportunity to get with the students full time, and again, really excited to introduce him.
I am thrilled to death and looking forward to it again. And I've always enjoyed being an instructor, and I'm looking forward to this again. Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Board members, any questions? Good. Okay, then we'll move on.
Okay, we'll keep this going, and I'm going to ask our next faculty member, Dr. Linda Flora, to come up. And she is one of our folks who moved from across the country, so she came from Pennsylvania. So this is Dr. Flora, and she goes by Flora from here on out. We will be calling her Flora, but she is a California native, and she has a bachelor's and master's from CSU Long Beach, and she has a PhD from UC Riverside, where she also had an NIH undergraduate minority fellowship, and that helped her realize that the community, she started teaching at Riverside Community College while she was at UC Riverside, and that helped her realize that community college was her pathway she was going to follow. In '95, she moved to Pennsylvania and held a variety of educational positions, and she started a full-time tenure track position, first in Montgomery County and then in Delaware County, both in the greater Philadelphia area. And she has interest in curriculum and teaching development and student-centered approaches to the classroom. She also has developed and taught hybrid biology courses for non-majors in bioanatomy and physiology successfully. She has won a mini grant at her last college to create digital anatomy dissection videos accessible to all anatomy and physiology students. It's kind of like that cloud with Rami, you know.
You're taking all our questions away.
She has her current interests are aligning curricular development with student metacognitive learning skills, and she has a lot of college level experience in the GE core courses, construction and implementation, college-wide assessment of GE programs, branch campus liaison at department, division, and college meetings, and she's mentored adjunct faculty from all disciplines in student-centered teaching methods. And we are really excited to have her aboard, and she is well, I'll let you say this last part about being excited about the hiking and camping part. But we're really excited to have her aboard as she's joining our biology group there. And without any further ado, I'll have us welcome Flora.
Well, I'm very excited to be here. It was a little bit of a challenge, 3,000 miles and then starting a new job 3 weeks later, I have to say, but since the beginning, everybody has been extremely helpful, welcoming, going out of their way, finding rental homes for me. Mm-hmm. It has been great. Stan was strong on getting me here, and that was from the very beginning. I'm like, this is really where I need to be. And you know when something's right, you feel it, it's right, it's right. And I'm great with the air. I've already been up to the sequoias, hiking with my dog, went where we weren't supposed to, apparently.
Yeah.
There's rules up there.
Yeah, you'll find that out.
You're back in California. Yeah. There's lots of rules.
I'm very excited. This is a great opportunity for me to share what I've learned back in my home state.
Great.
I have a question. You taught community college here before you went to Pennsylvania and California?
I did.
So going there, what was the most significant change in our community college system, state to state, that you experienced?
Well, one thing I found super interesting is they have 15-week semesters in the entire state, and really most of the East Coast does. Kind of challenge. That was a big challenge. Plus, they have less time in the lab for the students. So basically, it's the same curriculum, but packed into a shorter amount of time. They're actually lagging behind California as far as accreditation goes. California's did it first, have accomplished much more that is now just happening on the East Coast. And that was one of the reasons I was really happy to come on this side. Believe me, that was one of the things I looked at the college before I said yes.
Oh, got it.
Because I was in the middle of that at my other college.
So you know what it feels like.
I do. I want to be on the other
and
side.
we're in a happy place now. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Okay, and I'll have our next faculty member come up. And so our new full-time business faculty member, Gabe Gianandrea. So we're excited to have Gabe on board. Gabe is actually a COS alumni, and he has a BS degree in business administration from Chapman University, and he has an MBA in business administration from the University of Phoenix. He has been a business instructor for San Joaquin Valley College in Visalia since 2004, and he has also been an adjunct instructor here at COS since 2006. He's taught our intro to business, our business math, computer applications, business statistics, and quantitative methods. So he's the math focus of that business area, which we are really excited about. So, you know, Cindy wrote a little note here, and she said we're excited for him to join the COS team as a full-time faculty member and look forward to his contributions to the success of our students and college community. And I agree. And so and his division chair is coming up later, but I do want to say when we did the interviews and stuff, the faculty were really excited about getting him on full-time and had the experience working with him and felt like he would be a really great fit for the division. So we're really excited to have Gabe on board. So.
I appreciate the opportunity. You know, when I left here in, let's see, would have been the spring of 2000, I set a goal to come back and teach, and now I'm here. You know, and after 9 years of hard work as an adjunct, I'm ready to get going.
Great.
It can start fast enough. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I'm going to keep going.
You are.
Those are all of our new full-time faculty members from the last few meetings. We've met them all, and we are, as you guys can see, we have a really outstanding slate of folks who have a lot of experience, and I think this is going to be a really exciting year with all of these new full-time folks in both areas, student services and academic services. One of the other things that we do is when we have new division chairs, we bring them forward to the board for the board to meet. This year, we have 7 new division chairs. So, and they normally do a short presentation for the board, just giving you some background on their department and their goals. So, before I'm going to have Janelle come up, but before she does, I wanted to let you know we're not doing all 7 tonight. We're splitting them out with that many coming on. We're going to split them out with the next few board meetings, and in addition, tonight in the personnel report, one of the requirements for the board is to ratify all of the new division chairs. So when you approve the personnel report, you'll be ratifying the 7 new division chairs who are coming in. So that's part of it, and Janelle will be the first one presenting. The rest will be the next few months. So I'll have Janelle come up, and Janelle Spencer is our incoming division chair for the business division. And after working at a law firm as the accountant and paralegal for 25 years, she went back to school and obtained her bachelor's in business management from Fresno Pacific University and her MBA from National University in Fresno. She was hired at COS full-time in 2004 and teaches accounting and business classes. And she's also the business internship coordinator. So I'm going to introduce Janelle, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her goals as the incoming division chair for business.
Thanks very much. Before we do that, it was really nice to hear a new faculty member mention changing people's lives. And I just want to share just a very short story about myself. I graduated from Redwood High School I was 17 years old, and I decided I don't need college. And I applied for a job at Ticor Title, it was called at the time. I think it's Chicago Title now. And I decided if I get the job, I'm not going to COS. And if I don't get the job, I'll go to COS. I got the job. So I worked for the title company for about 3 years, and from there I went to a law firm, and I continued. I was there as where I was the accountant and bookkeeping's an accountant. And after a while, I realized I do need COS, and I came back to COS and obtained my paralegal certificate. While I was at the law firm, then I couldn't let go of the accounting duties. They wouldn't let me do that, but I was the paralegal as well. So I worked there for several more years, and 25 years in total. And at a point, I decided, or I thought, I'm supposed to be doing something else. I'm not sure what it is. I felt like I had not met my potential. So I felt comfortable, and I called one of my professors from COS way back when and said, do you have some time for me? And this professor said, of course. And I came in and met with her for about 15 minutes. And I
indicated that I thought perhaps I've not met my potential, and she said, "You're right, Janelle, you've not. And you can do this." She gave me encouragement, believed in me, and in those 15 minutes, she changed my professional life, because I did. I took the courage to go back to school, and I was much older there, had a lot of bills and a lot of kids, and got my degrees and started teaching at Ridley College and then here at COS. So you really can change people's lives. She did, and we're very fortunate to be here because we can change students' lives every day. So anyway, it's kind of touching for me because I can't believe I'm here now. So, and as far as being the business division chair and the goals that we have in our division, first of all, this one may seem very basic, but it's certainly important. And we know that when we write goals down, we increase their chances of success by 80%. So ours is to ensure our business division continues to meet the deadlines for student learning outcomes, program outcomes, and our program review. This is going to be the focus for the norm and always be on top of it, not a one and done kind of thing. Goal number 2 is we're going to make sure we use all available data to make sure our course schedule is effective and efficient. Just this over the summer, several faculty members voluntarily increased their load or their class schedule or size, from 40 to 50. And this had the effect of adding 3 classes. And this aligns with our overall strategic plan objective of increasing completion rates for our transfer degrees and our career technical education students. Just to put some numbers with that, in the last 3 years, 150 students have completed degrees within the business division, and we have degrees in accounting, business admin for transfer, business not for transfer, computer programming, and paralegal. That said, in the last 3 years, 120 students have completed certificates in our division. And we have certificates in accounting, business, financial record keeping, computer applications and programming, paralegal, and law office clerk. Now, while our paralegal numbers for both degree and certificates have declined over the last several years, or had declined over the last several years, both increased in 2015. And we have to tie that into, we're very thankful that we have a full-time paralegal faculty and coordinator. And I think that she's done a really good job, and I know that she's just starting. She just completed her first year, and so I'll be able to work with her in more outreach, so I can only see it growing from here and revitalizing our paralegal program. In fact, Barry, our statistician, tells me that not all of the certificates and applications for degrees and certificates have been processed yet, so I see that number even increasing. So very thankful to have Pure on board. And then our third goal is to continue to grow the business and paralegal internship program by continuing presentations, not only in Visalia, but in Tulare and Hanford. I think I've done approximately 4 or 5 presentations over the summer, and we're anxious to work with our provosts from Tulare and Hanford to help us target the right individuals, groups, organizations, employers to help accept COS interns. And we want to get the word out to our students as well. So we want to be able to make presentations in the classrooms in both Tulare and Hanford campuses. I just want to mention to you, you should have our newsletter that's going to go out probably end of next week. And just very briefly, please read it at your leisure, but on the back side is a little article from Melissa Kaminsky with Service Master by Benevento. And what I didn't know she was going to say this, but what she says is very revealing. They're a huge supporter of our program. They accepted an intern, loved her, hired her, and that's a very success. But what she says in there is, when they first got involved in the program, didn't know a lot about it, and they accepted an intern thinking, oh, this is going to be inexperienced help for us. And what they realized was that's not the case at all. That they bring in someone, they train them, but it's a lot of work and a lot of training, because that's a true internship. Training and guiding and giving them experience and networking, all of that. And she says that in that article, that it takes a lot of time and effort, but it's certainly well worth it because the student gains a lot and so does the company. So I was really happy to hear her say that. And then on the plate, I'll just give you some numbers on the front page in that blue column. It talks about our internship being, we're celebrating 10 years. I can't believe it's been 10 years. It feels like 2 years. We started from a very basic grassroots effort Mr. Pachuto brought on Gottschalks, and I brought on M. Green and Company at the very beginning, and then it's just kind of grown steadily since that time. There it says that we've had over 20 reoccurring organizations participating in our program, meaning every single semester they're coming back. We don't have to call them, they're calling us, and that's a really good sign. On average, we have at least 12 new businesses apply each semester, and that's through word of mouth. And I have to say, I have to thank a lot of people, some of them here tonight for that. I know our president wrote a letter, or there's an article in the Visalia Chamber last summer that generates effort. We have a business application form where businesses apply to our program, and at the bottom they say, how did you hear about our program? And many times, many times, I see a box checked and it says Mr. Calvin, so thank you very much, really appreciate that. So it's great to have administration supporting us. Our own faculty certainly does and brings students. We have different divisions on campus. I know Lisa with work experience does. Catherine McGuire has. Maria certainly has. Maria and I have a really, I have to say it, just a short success story. We had a mutual student, and we felt that he would probably be a challenge to place in an organization. And this student, Maria, counseled, I know you spent a lot of time with him, counseled him, and he persevered and kept going. And he was also a business student. So I was able to find, I'll brag on, Tiller County Tax Collector's Office. Took him on as an intern. And I have to give them the credit. It wasn't a, please do us a favor and take this student. I sent him some very qualified students. We send their application, they do the interviews, and ultimately select the intern they feel would be a good fit. They chose our student that Maria and I shared. And I was just thrilled. He called me and he said, well, I realize that some organizations may have not wanted to accept this student, but we just saw something in him and he deserved a break. And anyway, it was just extremely rewarding. And then now our student has full-time employment with the County of Tulare. And it's just, it's why we do what we do, right? Thanks, Maria.
Changing lives.
Pardon?
Changing lives.
Yes, exactly. That's what's so fun about what we do. So then, the other thing I want to say is during the last year, we have placed over 45 students with different organizations in the community. Over half of our students placed in the last 3 semesters began as volunteers and now have paid positions. So,
congratulations. That's
thank
great.
you very much. Lastly, and this is really telling, we're really seeing this is very rewarding. We have placed, this is what's happening. It's happened on more than one occasion. We place interns, they do a good job, they're hired. They do a great job, and they're promoted, and then they call us back to accept COS interns. So, let's talk about full circle. It's really pretty fun. So, thanks very much. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you very much.
Well,
Board
just
members?
a comment. I know you mentioned M. Green Company, and we had one of those interns, and
Oh, awesome.
yeah, and she's been there, been hired and promoted and doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
And welcome. And thank you for taking on Division Chair.
Oh,
Janelle, good luck. Sounds like you've met some of your goals already, though, so you might have to make some new ones.
And last but certainly not least.
I get to tie a bow around this, but before I do, I just want to congratulate all of our new hires, especially Gabe and Janelle as the Dean of Business. I work with them very closely. Gabe was always that guy that took the tough time that nobody else wanted, or would go anywhere to any location, teach any class. And I'm just thrilled to see him get this full-time opportunity. And I've always said, and some of you have heard me say this, if a guy had 5 Janelle Spencers, he could rule the world. Awesome. So congratulations to you both. But I'm here to introduce Michelle Brock. Michelle as our new Dean of Student Services. I'm losing it a little bit because I could have swore that we already introduced her, and then I realized it's only because it was less than a year that I was up here introducing her as the director of the Access and Ability Center. We stole Michelle from Kings County last summer, and she just did a wonderful job with the Access and Ability Center, and it was a challenging area for us on a few different levels, and She's handled it like a true professional and just been fantastic. And so when Dr. Toss left with her husband to go up north, we opened it up, but we always knew that, doggone it, depending on if we don't get anybody else, we know we have a fabulous dean in the making here. And Michelle, we were just worried about losing her as our director, but we're crossing that bridge now because she absolutely was the most qualified applicant, and we're thrilled to announce Michelle as our new dean of student services.
I'm really thrilled to be here. I won't spend a lot of time, but I think the calling to me was that I couldn't sit back and I couldn't let my team that I signed up for not have all of me. And I felt like I wasn't able to give you all. There's tremendous work that's gone on here in the accreditation and the cycles. And it's a real crucial time right now for us to really show our worth, to show our work. And I feel called to come and offer myself in all that I have for you, not only in the capacity to maintain our AAC and the great things that we're doing, but to work alongside all the other student services programs as well, so we can show the world the great things that we can do and the mechanisms we've created, and to continue the glory of the great work we do. So I'm very honored and very, very pleased to be amongst the leaders. They speak to my heart, and I think that we're very attuned into who and what we do and how we serve. I look forward to growing and to be accountable for my tenacity, and looking forward to all the professionals who can feed me to be the best that I can be to serve students. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Welcome, Michelle. Well, on behalf of the board, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. As board members, we're not on campus, as you know. We may be on campus for events, but we're not here working every day, so it's a pleasure and an honor for us to be able to meet you, see your face, and hope we can recognize you on campus and know your position. So we thank you again for taking the time to come to our board meeting and speak with us and spend some time with us today. Okay, we are on to reports. No more from President Carrizosa? You good? Okay.
I am, thank you.
Do we have an academic senate report? I don't see Thea. No? Can we excuse all of them? I think, is that appropriate too, if they want to leave?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to say it's okay. You're welcome to stay, but we won't make you.
If you were looking for an opportune moment, this is it.
Ms. Greer, do we have a costume report? No report. Okay, thank you for being here. Do we have a CSEA report? You're back from Paris, Mr. Lamar.
I am. This has been my summer in Paris, 2 weeks in France, and then I was elected as a delegate to the California School Employees Annual Conference, which was held at Paris, Las Vegas. This has been my summer in Paris.
So you got to go back to the Eiffel Tower?
Yes, but it's
not
way
quite
smaller than
Vegas.
Vegas. And they both had way too many people. That I'll tell you, way too many people. Well, today I'd like to just briefly talk about a little bit went on in the CSEA conference in Las Vegas a week ago. And yes, for those who were watching the news a week ago Saturday, when the plane's engine blew up in Las Vegas and had to land, I was on that plane. Made it win. That was, yeah, that was very exciting. We felt the explosion, but we didn't know what was going on. And pilot just said we're landing, but as everybody on Las Vegas Strip that was dialing 911 about this plane up in the air with this engine on fire, we couldn't see it. So, but yeah, going we were held up 8 hours because of plane problems, and coming back we're held up again. So I don't know if I'll ever fly Allegiant Airlines again. But the CSEA conference, we had 1,500 delegates on the floor from across the state of California. We had Yi and Chung and a whole bunch of people talked to us. It was very interesting. I attended a lot of education workshops. I talked to Christine a little bit. I attended a huge workshop on the healthcare initiative and stuff that's coming up, and a lot of stuff that I think is positive for us through CVT and through some others. I mean, just that thing is ever changing, and they're rewriting it every day as we go through it. It's something I learned 2 years ago when I went to a workshop on it. So as she knows, well, she's dealing with some of it today, so it's ever changing. 3 things that CSEA has got on its board next year. One is they're going to, if they have to, sponsor legislation to try to keep Prop 30 on the books, because they know that's a must for schools to keep funding going. So CSEA, the state organization, is going to be doing what they can to keep either elongating it, getting it re-enhanced, or putting new legislation through. That's one thing. The two other things are not good things. One is the Friedrichs versus CTA case, which the Supreme Court just announced a month ago that they are going to hear next year. And what that does is a teacher down in Southern California challenged the fact that she thought it was unconstitutional that service fee payers had to pay anything at all. They still have, by law, have to be represented by the union, but she feels that service fee payers do not have to pay any fees. So the state Supreme Court decided to hear that. We're going to be watching that, because if that happens, this is a national thing, and it's going to be a huge blow to all unions across the United States. Because service fee payers, not all people want to join unions, but they have to pay because they have to be, by law, they have to be represented by them. If this passes, anybody could say, I don't want to pay any more union fees, but I still want to be represented. And then there's another law that the unions are going to try. So it's going to be a very hard year, a very interesting case to watch. The other thing is our not so good friend, the ex-mayor of San Jose, Chuck Jones, has decided to put on another anti-pension legislative reform to try to change the state constitution and take away defined benefits and pensions as the state of California knows. So he is anybody that's in STRS, PERS, or any state pension like that, if he gets this on the ballot, it's going to affect you. CSEA fought it. They were the leaders fighting it the last time he tried it, and we beat it. We're hoping not to let him get to the point of getting it on the ballot. But interesting, they dissected that at conference, and there's a lot of that language at the bottom of it that you have to read that you don't normally hear about that's just absolutely ridiculous. So if you have a chance and you want to read about that, please do that. So CSEA's got 3 big fights ahead next year, and of course that trickles down to our local levels because it affects each one of our members. So that's my report. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. You've been busy. Any questions,
Yes,
board
I
members?
have been.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Well, I do have a question for Steve.
Yes.
Which one was more fun, Paris or Paris?
Paris and France,
There
absolutely.
you go. That's the right answer.
And I will tell you, before I left, everybody told me the French people don't like Americans, so they're not very friendly. And everybody in France talks English. They're all completely wrong. Everybody over there was so nice and outgoing and helping. And once you got outside of Paris, nobody spoke English. Nobody. That was rather a challenge because we spent a lot of time outside of Paris.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was beautiful and brilliant.
Did you just use your phone or a dictionary or?
I used my big smile.
And your finger pointed a lot?
Yes.
Oh, good. Do we have a CASAFA report, Mr. Nichol? Okay. We'll move on to our first item under information items, and that will be our annual report on distance education. Dr. Nolan.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, John. Well, back to work. Here we are. It's time for me to give my distance ed report again. That's how I end my summer and begin my fall every year. Thank you for the opportunity to share. We had a wonderful year in distance education last year. And just a few of the highlights included what was happening with Blackboard. It was very calm. I had a wonderful Blackboard year. I don't think I took any calls after hours last year. That was a very, very nice year. Our students get help at the Computer Help Desk, at the Welcome Center, the Hanford Hub, over at the Tulare College Center, and most of the time all they need is a little help getting logged into Blackboard. So it's working just fine. Most of our instructors are using Blackboard now. It's sort of something that our students are expecting. And I think a lot of our students have reached a level of technology literacy that makes them expect it as well. And they're a lot more comfortable with using the screen to see the materials that their instructors are providing for them. We may have an opportunity to move away from Blackboard, though, having said wonderful things about Blackboard.
Just when you perfected it?
It's not perfect, but I do think of it as job security.
Anyway, the Chancellor's Office, as part of the Online Education Initiative, which has been lighting up the sky in California for the last year for us in distance education, has decided to support all of the community colleges with a free program that's like Blackboard. It's called Canvas. It's by a company called Instructure. And we will begin the process of examining this opportunity in our participatory governance structure very soon. In fact, my distance education committee will have an emergency meeting at noon on convocation to discuss this and make a recommendation to the Academic Senate for their first meeting in August. And we're hopeful that we can respond to this opportunity by the 1st of September and get involved in what is an 18-month migration process. The beauty of this, and I think no one will argue about this, is it's free. For the first 4 years, it's free. And the people at the Online Education Initiative are very confident that the Chancellor's Office will continue to support the use of Canvas across the state. Of course, there are no guarantees, but it is a very intuitive program. It would not be a difficult transition for our students or for our faculty, although I will be involved in some training for the faculty, of course. We provide it for them. But the Canvas environment is very easy to use, and they have a lot of wonderful support materials available to people. I have already begun to pilot a Canvas course to see how easy it is to use. And so anyway, keep you posted on that. That'll be kind of exciting. Online class, as we've reported for years now, we go up and we go down. Well, lately we've been going up. So we have been offering more and more sections every semester of our online classes. The divisions do all of the planning for online classes. It isn't something that I do or the Academic Senate Subcommittee, DECOS, does. So the division chairs work with their division, their faculty, and talk about what online courses are suitable for the goals that they have to meet the district objectives and so on. I would like to say that of the 7 new division chairs, 4 of them are online instructors. So I think that there will be some more interesting discussions about distance education in our instructional council every month. I'm looking forward to that. We track the number of out-of-state students taking our classes because of potentially a requirement for us to get authorization in other states to do business there. We're still waiting for more and more information about what that requirement actually looks like, but I'm working with Dolly and the research office to at least have information about how many students who are out of state actually take our classes. And according to our information, it's a very small number of students who are taking classes out of state. These students are probably students who are visiting family in another state. We had, or maybe on vacation, 5 people in Hawaii. So it's not a large number, but there could potentially be a problem with allowing those students to take our online classes because of financial aid and whether or not they'd have recourse in another state and that kind of thing. Right now, we do not have any programs or degrees that can be taken entirely online. So we don't think it's an issue, but I'm just making you aware that we are tracking that data. We do have a number of students every semester who just take online classes. And we were, you'll see down below when we talk about the substantive change, we have quite a number of classes that students can take online, entirely online, or, which is ON on the chart that you're looking at. OO is online with orientation, which means there's one meeting at the beginning of the term. OH is what we call hybrid, online hybrid, where there are regularly scheduled meetings throughout the term. And so these numbers are interesting. We do have student services that can accommodate a student who never comes on campus. we've made a point of doing that. We work with the student services people to make sure students can get everything that they need. The district went through administrative procedure revision processes last year, and among them was AP 4105, which is our distance education AP. We made a small change in some language to that. I believe that the Academic Senate approved that at one of our last meetings in the spring. We do use this AP for a lot of compliance issues. We did a substantive change with the ACCJC last year. I worked with Dr. Lacerna, and we took the 23 certificates and degrees that we had been approved for back in 2011, and now proposed an additional 50 programs, and we were approved. So we have the ability to offer all of these programs at least 50% online. Now, again, we don't have any programs right now that are close to that. We can do it. The courses have been approved for it, and we're getting more and more instructors who are qualified to teach online through certification, either through my program or elsewhere. But we're ready. We're positioned to do this. So as the district continues to work with the strategic plan, and we're working on increasing enrollments, this might be an opportunity, and we are ready to go with that.
Dr. Nolan?
Yes.
Before we leave this page, can we go back to your data table on students only enrolled in online classes? Right there. And can you clarify for us the 72 with the asterisk?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't mention that.
That's okay.
Well, the 72 is the, what is the name of that system up there? Where we have to report online students to the chancellor's office.
Oh.
And so that 72 is the code that we kind of used as an umbrella code for years. And then in the past few years, we have done our own coding for ON, OO, and OH. But there are still a few stragglers in that 72 code that haven't been applied to the other code. But I've been working with Dolly and Lee and Banner and all of that.
So it's
straighten that out.
it's a
They need to be
numerical
classified.
code, yeah, to capture additional enrollment tracking that don't fit into those categories
Correct.
above.
Correct.
Thank you.
One example would be our interactive television. That's considered a distance ed in some cases. It doesn't have all the compliance issues. But we used to have a code for correspondence, 61, the things I remember. We used to have a code for, I don't know, passive interaction, 53, or whatever. There must have been 12 different codes.
I see.
And so we've simplified things. Okay. In the area of curriculum, I've been working with the curriculum committee to prepare, with my distance ed committee and then the curriculum committee, to prepare a new distance learning addendum. This is something that we're required to approve as part of the curriculum approval process whenever we want to have a class taught online. So all those 63 programs that we have now are there because we have distance learning addendums that have been approved for all the courses involved in those programs. Because of the many requirements that we have, the compliance issues that we have in distance education, we felt that last year it was time to revise this addendum. And it's the process that we go through with all of the pieces of this addendum where we tell the accrediting body and we tell the state that we are taking a look at the student services available to students. We're taking a look at the curriculum. We're taking a look at the quality of the distance education classes. So it's a real important piece, and we took it to the Senate at the end of the year, so the Senate will be considering it as we begin this year. When it is approved by the Senate, we will be including that every time a faculty member goes to add a distance ed addendum and take it through the curriculum process, they'll have to use the new name. Okay, the online teaching certification program is still working since summer of 2011, and I was able to offer it this summer, and I have 5 graduates from this summer. So I don't think that number is reflected there. So it's pretty exciting. I would say out of those 71 people, maybe 3 or 4 have actually begun teaching online for us. So we have quite a number of people who are ready if they want to start teaching. One of the things that I keep hearing from the people who go through the program is that it's helped their face-to-face teaching in a lot of ways. It really is the best place to do faculty development in community colleges. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that. So it's a lot of fun. It's been revised based on the new standards for quality online teaching that were developed by the Online Education Initiative, and the Academic Senate adopted those standards as a voluntary tool for our online teachers. The student success data in the last year is better than the year before. We found the year before that we interviewed or surveyed our students and our faculty, and we came up with our factors that we were aware of that would help a student be successful in online classes, and I list them here for you again. And we've made an effort to help students with their awareness and with communicating our expectations and determining what our students' skills are and their dispositions and situation and all of those things. We've been trying to look at data. One of the things that we've done is now in Banner there's an online class registration mechanism. So if a student is registering for a class, they have to confirm that they understand it's an online class. And we give them a few bits of, a few tips. By the way, you need to have good time management. You need to contact the instructor. You need to check your email. So that's one of the mechanisms that we have institutionalized. And that, I think, has been helpful. We also send a message out to students at the beginning of every semester, and that message went out today from me to every student enrolled in one of our online classes. Tips for being successful, who to contact, what to expect from instructors. And every year I get a number of calls based on that message. I already got 2 or 3 today. So that's a good thing. We came up with an online learning readiness survey based on our research from 2 years ago. And we piloted that survey in a number of online classes last year. And this year, it has been institutionalized. When we sent out the welcome message today, there was also a link, and I want to thank Dolly and his office for getting this, putting this together. We have a link so that every student enrolled in an online class now can take this online learning readiness survey. It's a self-report survey. We ask them questions about how's your time management, do you have support at home, do you have a regular internet connection, do you have good computer skills? Can you read and understand directions? Things like that. And we ask the student to think about those things, and if they feel that they need some help, I'm the one to call. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm very excited about that. And then the student success comparisons from last year are here for you. I won't go through every chart for you, but we took a look at success in 2 basic ways. And in both cases, we found that our course-by-course comparison, face-to-face class and an online class, were closer than we ever have had. So the success rates for those classes used to have a pretty big gap, and now that gap has shrunk. So we're very excited about that. I have shared this data with the Instructional Council, with the Academic Senate, and all of the divisions got their own data for each class-by-class comparison in time for the last dialogue days so that they could take a look at that. Why are some classes more successful than others? Well, we've got some theories. In some cases, it might be that students don't really have a compelling reason to finish the class, so they don't. In other cases, it may be that the students don't have the computer skills that they need or the reading skills that they need, but we're trying to determine where they are with all of these things, and we're going to come up with some more initiatives this year as a distance education committee and see what else we can institutionalize and keep improving online education. That's my report. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Board members, any reports? Sounds like every year you
I
add classes and get better.
That's right,
Go
that's
ahead,
the
Earl.
hope.
I have a question, and I may have missed it in here. Has there been any kind of a follow-up study of students who have taken online courses, transferred to a four-year university, how their success rate compares to a student who has been in the class?
As a matter of fact, there was a survey or report that came out in the spring, and I can get that to you, that it wasn't a COS report, but it was a report that came out in the spring that indicated students who take online classes tend to finish their degrees in higher numbers than other students. So I don't know if I can find one that's specific to your question, but this research is going to be continuing. Distance ed is a pretty hot topic in California right now, so we'll see what comes out. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 2, our annual staffing report. Mr. Brett.
Okay, tonight I'm giving an annual staffing report. It's for information only. This is the third year in a row now I've done a staffing report, and the purpose is to just give us a snapshot of where we are with employee counts at the time I give this presentation. We're always hiring, so this number is going to change probably next week when we hire an additional program or research analyst. But as of right now, what you have in front of you are the number and list of employees here at the College of Sequoias, not only our Visalia campus, but also our Tulare and Hanford campus as well. Just a couple of highlights. You'll see that we employ 165 full-time faculty members. This is up 9 from last year. We have 188 classified and confidential employees, and that's an increase of 27 from last year when I gave this report. One thing I did want to point out, last year at the request of the board, I did give a comparison of the full-time equivalent students we have here versus the full-time equivalent employees we have at the College of Sequoias. You'll find that on the final page of this report. One thing I got to point out is that the report you have that was sent out Thursday in the board materials, I've updated it since then. I've given you all a copy. It's on your desk, and I filled in a couple of blanks. Are there any questions about the staffing report?
John, do we have 2 business chairs?
We should not. Does it indicate that we do? My understanding is it's only Janelle Spencer, and that's on the second page of your handout.
I didn't think we did. I just thought you need to correct that.
Okay.
Which report are you looking at, Earl, though? You're looking
This
at that.
here.
Oh, that one.
Oh, you're talking about the personnel report.
Yeah, number 5.
Oh, okay. No, we should not
Have
have.
a business chair listed first, and then we had to report.
Oh, you know what, that should be social sciences for Alicia Crumpler. But I'm gonna pull that from
there
the
you go.
agenda, and I can make that change.
Okay, yeah. Okay, do you have any further questions on the staffing report? I appreciate it, thanks, that's a good recap. Thanks, John. Okay, we have our year-end governance report, Mr. Calvin.
Here I come again. Haven't talked to this before meeting since the interim year. How about that? So I'm here to provide an annual assessment of our decision-making processes. Basically, it's our governance report. It's required in our new COS 2.0 environment. I am here to provide the evaluation and assessment for the district governance senate. You'll see it there in our participatory governance structure. This report will also include those 4 subcommittees that report to the district governance senate. They include budget committee, technology committee, program review committee, and institutional program and effectiveness committee. Each spring, each member of a governance group completes a survey about their area. And then planning and resource, and maybe I should just take time out to thank Dolly. I think about 75% of what we've talked about tonight has gone through Dolly's office. They work very hard and do a fantastic job supporting us all, and Dolly, I just want to thank you for all the good work you do. But every spring, they administer the survey and they consolidate the reports into individual committee reports. Those are then given to the chairs of the committees who take it back to their groups. They analyze the data, and I consolidated it into one report, but all of those individual subcommittees use that information to do a better job the next year. These are the consolidated survey results from the District Governance Senate and the 4 subcommittees. There were a couple other questions, but not really germane to this conversation. These are the 4 main ones. The first is whether or not folks thought that the Senate and the committees were meeting their role and responsibility. You'll see that 100% either strongly agreed or agreed. There were a couple folks that felt like we could supply more resources to help these groups, but not many. Again, you're talking about 88% that felt like there were adequate resources. Again, we had 84% that felt like the workload was appropriate. A couple folks disagreed. It's probably the folks on the Budget Committee. Other than that, IPC or Budget, I forgot about IPC.
No names. You can't say any names.
And then finally, I guess the kicker is, did folks feel like their Senate or subcommittee was effective in meeting its initiatives? And you see you got 98% that either agreed or strongly agreed. So what is this information used for? Again, it helps all of us just to improve ourselves, improve our governance group for the following year. These will be all not only the surveys, but also the comments that came along with them will help us form our initiatives for the following year and become the basis of what we judge ourselves on next year. But maybe just as important is with this feedback, we were able to update our COS 2.0 manual, something that we do every summer. We've completed that task based on the information gleaned from these surveys, and here in about another 2 weeks, those manuals, all 3 of them, will start making their way through our governance structure to be approved, and we'll use those for the year. So we feel like we're right on course with what COS 2.0 calls for, and this was just an important step, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the governance report for 2014-15.
I just have one question, Britt, and that would be on the number of responses. Were you happy with that number? How many total people should there have been, or was that half? Or I know that's always the hard part, is getting people to fill them out.
Well, that's about the total of the District Governance Senate, as well as the 4 subcommittees.
Okay.
Because you do have some duplication. There are some folks that sit on the District Governance Senate.
So you feel like you got a good majority of everybody then?
Absolutely.
Oh, great. That's good.
Yeah, I think the total number is 52.
Okay, that's really
And
good
as
then.
Brent said, there's 2 or 3 that are on there twice.
And all of those folks represent larger groups,
Yes,
obviously.
yes. So you hope they're speaking for their group, not just
Well, that's one
themselves?
of the things,
Right.
that's one of our annual initiatives that we judge
Okay.
ourselves on. We store that data and track that, is our folks going back and sharing this with the constituency groups and bringing information back. That's something that they're all tasked with on a monthly basis, and they have to report in their monthly reports to the District Governance Senate. Are you sharing this information, or are you bringing information back? That's the key piece, and we do track ourselves on that.
And one of the things that this kind of a process helps us do is correct, if you will. Number 1, identify, and then number 2, correct shortcomings in our system where those things are not happening. So the fact that we've got this requirement in here that we complete these surveys, we share them at District Governance Senate, we bring them here, we share them publicly. You'll all recall a fairly contentious issue at our level had to do with not this committee, but a committee below at the grassroots implementation. We were discovering a lack of that kind of communication back and forth, the sophistication and the completeness of that updating to your constituent groups. So just keeping track of something and studying it and reporting on it every year really helps you improve the reality of those things happening effectively in your system.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. And I guess so just to go one further level down without making this discussion too long, if you took all the people involved in here, and these four, they also have people underneath them though, right? I'm sure there's another layer there. Is that something that gets, that would be revealed in this survey or not quite? You know, the people that these committees represent.
Yeah, she's on the diagram where we go back to the 4 subcommittees.
You know,
And so-
would you, I guess I'm just asking Brent your opinion. Do you think these responses reflect, or do they even go together, the people that work on these committees?
The people,
You know.
the 49 includes the people that work on those committees.
Right, but if you had to say the people on those committees and you feel their voices are reflected in these 49, in all
Yes,
these committees, because I guess I don't know how many
Like
people
the
sit on all
the
of these.
budget committee has 8 folks, and
That is,
Oh, that
when we
are
were
the
telling you the
things. Oh,
total of
yes, yes, yes.
53, it's everybody in that circle.
Right, but that budget person, though, the person on this committee obviously has people it's representing, right, is my question, correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's what I'm asking. Do you think those people feel this way, that they're being heard?
I believe so.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and that's a good point, because if you
That makes
move
sense.
over, on the diagram that's
Yeah.
on the screen, if you move over under Academic Senate, and you get into all of those committees, that's the level at which we're really trying to focus now on there being better reporting out and sharing in, and
Yep.
reporting
Okay.
out
Yep.
and sharing in. But we wouldn't even be having this conversation if we didn't have these structures and systems in place.
That's great.
So the fact that we've identified some problems in a twisted kind of way is a good thing.
Yeah, well, even just the survey results, that's awesome.
And the membership of the District Governance Senate, as well as all 4 subcommittees, and really every box on this page, but the 5 areas I'm speaking for tonight, the membership in all those is defined in our COS 2.0 manuals.
Yep.
It's not just us, putting folks on there. It's every single group
Has a way to
voice.
get on there. Yep,
Yes.
yes, agreed. Good.
Any further questions?
Further questions?
I would like to add to what you were just talking about.
My co-chair of District Governance Senate, Mr. Steve Lamar.
The bigger groups.
Do you strongly agree, Mr. Lamar?
Most of the time.
He was the one squawking that we didn't have adequate resources.
He tells me I'm to be seen and not heard all the time. That's a hard thing for me to do.
So what, are you forgetting that tonight?
I would like to, what your question is the groups underneath it. The groups underneath it are the classified, the adjunct, the teachers, and the management.
right.
And I can tell you that CSEA, every month at our our monthly meeting, we report out about what happens in Senate, and I report out what happens on the board. And I can tell you that Don Nichols does one of the best jobs reporting out after the board meeting with an email that goes to a lot of people. So I don't know about the teachers, but I do know about the adjunct faculty in CSEA that those are reported out monthly. So yes, the information is disseminated.
It's getting all the way, it's disseminating
Yeah,
all the way
all
through.
the
That's
way
the main
up.
thing. Great.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Any further questions, board members? Thanks, Brent. Great reports. Okay. Is that our last information item? Okay, we will move on to our consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. An item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any member of the board or any person in the audience. I know we have one item to remove, right, Mr. Branch?
Yes, number 5.
Okay, number 5. Okay, any other items to be removed, board members? If not, can I get a motion to approve items 4 through 8 minus 5, I guess, 4, 6, 7, and 8? Do you have a motion?
Move, we approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 5.
Moved by Mr. Mann, can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Nunes. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent calendar without item number 5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll take up item number 5 now, our personnel report. Mr. Batch.
Thank you. I apologize for any mistakes that were made, especially one that we noticed by Earl during the staffing report. But there are two areas I would like to correct. First has to do with Michelle Brock. On the original personnel report, I had the salary to be determined. We have since established a salary for Ms. Brock, and I provided a revised copy of the personnel report. And the revised salary is range 30 on the management salary schedule, step number 6. But also tonight, Earl caught, and thank you, Earl, under appointment to division chair, Alicia Crumpler. She is not the division chair of business. It should read, she's the business, she is the division chair for social sciences / human services.
Okay. Do we have any further questions or comments on the personnel report? If not, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Zumwalt, seconded by Mr. Nunes. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Batch. Okay, we will move on to our first action item of the evening, number 9, Affordable Care Act Standard Measurement Period. Ms. Stack.
Okay, good evening. I'll try and make this a little quick because you have seen a lot of this before, but the main reason I'm here tonight is to request your approval of something called a standard measurement period. And we had you approve that last time we were here, but just for 1 year. It was November 2013 to November 2014. And going forward, we really do need you to approve it in an annual ongoing manner. And I'm requesting that tonight. And along with that, I thought that I would take you through the Affordable Care Act, a little bit of an update, but I don't want to be too lengthy because, again, you have seen a lot of this before. As Steve mentioned, it's quite a beast and it's constantly moving and changing. So let me see if I can get this going. 2015, I'll start with where we are right now. We are having the employer mandate come into play. If we are not offering health coverage, we would be paying a penalty. And that would pertain to Affordable Care Act full-time employees who are defined as working on average 130 hours of service in a month. And we have to offer minimum essential coverage, minimum value coverage, and affordable coverage. Otherwise, we can face penalties. The big penalty that we talked about last time that I was here presenting this is if you have a failure to offer coverage penalty, employers must cover 95% of our workforce. Our workforce right now is about 350, but 95% of that would be, we might have leeway of about 17. In this particular calendar year, they actually gave us a reprieve and said you only need to cover 70%. A lot of employers, I think, were having difficulty implementing that. But all that to say, if just by example, if our workforce was 330, we can subtract 30 from that. But let's say that we only offered coverage to 310. We were only meeting 94% in these upcoming years. We would have a penalty of $600,000 a year. That's how important this is to make sure that we're meeting it. So we have gone through extensive steps, created rather extensive spreadsheets, and Linda McCauley, our Chief Accounting Officer, is overseeing the implementation. Big smile there. And what we're doing...
That's not what I saw. No, I'm just teasing.
We're really being proactive, so we are monitoring all our employees on a monthly basis. So even though we're asking you tonight to approve a look-back period, we're actually looking forward and always monitoring them to make sure that we're not going over. So that's the big penalty. There is another penalty for failure to provide affordable coverage. Those two other components I mentioned. Simply by the nature of our insurance, we meet that. So that's not a concern for us. Some of the workforce categories that we've had to address and look at, hourly, part-time, seasonal, full-time temporary, adjunct, coaches and other stipend employees, professional experts, and student workers. So it's a pretty big arena that we're addressing. There was the American Council on Education, which did propose safe harbor guidance. How do you calculate that for an adjunct, for example? And they said for adjunct, they proposed a 2.25 hours to 1 hour teaching. So if they're teaching 10 hours a week, we have to use in our calculation 22 and a half hours and make sure that they don't go over those 30 hours a week is what it kind of comes down to. Stipend coaches, again, the 30 hours per week, we're trying to track them coach by coach. Home games, away games, travel time. Brent has been very helpful with us in tracking that. Student workers, there is an exception for work-study students that we don't have to track that. But we also have district student workers, so we're tracking them. And then the standard measurement period, basically after you track them, you look back. We adopted a 12-month, so you look back over those 12 months and see, did they all comply? If they were 30 hours a week or basically 130 per month, did you offer them health insurance? And then you have 2 months to get health insurance in line if you didn't comply. And then there's something called a stability period. That's just how we do the calculations. So if we already provide them insurance, we aren't even worrying about tracking them. So we are tonight proposing the 12-month standard measurement look-back period and requesting that it be authorized for an ongoing basis year to year. And then we will have the 2-month administrative period, and we'll have what's called a 12-month stability period, and we'll start all over again the next year on November 2nd. So you had heard a lot of that before. I hope that's not too much there. This printed a little small, but what has changed, and what Steve mentioned, things are constantly evolving. So what we are having to implement this year, and the first 3 are for 2015, but they're actually not due till January 31st, 2016. Employers are required to report medical information on employee W-2s. We've actually been doing that for a couple years. We're good. For 2015, employees will receive a form indicating the medical insurance that's been offered, which months it's been offered. We have to come into compliance by January 31st, 2016. For 2015 also, we will transmit information to the federal government regarding the head count of our employees. And then and then also CVT is going to cover the information to the employees. They're actually required to, of who's covered. I think they did extensive work this year with our enrollees. Then the only other things that are coming up right now is 2018. You might have heard about the Cadillac plan. Mm-hmm. It says it will impose a 40% excise tax to employers if you are offering these Cadillac plans. And I'll just say we need more information from CVT because Cadillac plans really are about $27,500 or more for a family. And we think, well, we're fine because we don't offer that. But a Cadillac plan is also defined as $10,700, I think, for a single. Well, we have what's called a composite. So it's going to be, it's my understanding that CVT is going to have to they're going to have to show what they offer us, break it down on a per single, two-party, and family, and make sure that we're still in compliance. We don't foresee a problem, but that's coming in 2018. Those amounts are indexed up. Also in 2018, I just thought this was interesting. All health insurance plans must cover approved preventative care and checkups without a copayment. So we will see what that brings. So that's our ACA update. And again, I was just requesting your approval of the look back, the standard measurement period.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Do I have a vote?
Would you second it at least? Can I get a second?
Second.
Second. It's been moved by Mr. Zumwalt, seconded by Mr. Nunes. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10 is a roll call vote. We'll have our resolution for authorization to join the SWAC, which is our JPA for our liability insurance. It's resolution number 2015. 11. And before you start on that one, we did, I think the last meeting,
Yeah.
we were going to do a follow-up on the banks. Okay, go ahead. All
I'll
right,
share about
perfect.
that. Last meeting, I was not here, but we did, as part of this process, we needed to establish a deposit account for basically what is our deductible for our property and liability insurance. You brought a very good question forward. Do we have to do this with Union Bank? That was just who Buckman Mitchell, our broker, was directing us to. So we asked, and we were able to open that with Bank of America. And what I really
John,
liked,
he's so happy.
what I liked about Bank of America as well, besides the other issues, is that they did not require that very extensive resolution just to open the deposit account. So we've already done that, and that worked out well. So thank you.
I don't know that I care for Bank of America.
I had this one time.
So
Now,
this is,
in the past, we've been covered by the county, the JPA with the county.
you know, it had such a long name, I can't recall, but it was primarily Tulare County, yes, yes. And I'll talk a little bit more. I know Linda presented this last time, but since our last meeting, our broker came and said, you know, we really probably should have a resolution to make this move formal. And also enclosed in the resolution is naming the representatives to this JPA. I would be the primary representative if on occasion I could not make a meeting. They are proposing the secondary official representative from Buckman Mitchell, be Brent Swanson, which would be helpful. But I wanted to reiterate this move. You might be aware that there's a lot of claims that are rising in K-12 that can be liability related. I won't go into details, but they're just really mushrooming. And being a community college, they're not affecting community colleges as much. And we were one of the sole remaining community colleges that still got our property and liability insurance through a K-12 JPA. So moving to SWAC, which is a statewide association of community college districts, will be with community colleges. And we're going to be saving over $150,000. It's almost $160,000 per year, which at the time that we proposed it, we had no idea how much we'd be saving. So that's fabulous. But we do need a resolution to formally join that and then to approve the representatives. And that resolution is attached.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any further discussion? Okay, Megan, please poll the board.
Trustee Zumwalt?
Aye.
Trustee Mann?
Aye.
Trustee Nunes?
Aye.
Trustee Cardoza?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, and our last, thank you, Ms. Staffen.
Thank you.
Our last item of the evening, item number 11, is our approval to increase the health, dental, and vision insurance cap for management and confidential employees in order to remain consistent with full-time faculty and classified employees.
As you are aware, in May of this past year, CVT released its annual rate increases for health insurance. The average amount of these increases was about 6.2%, and of course that amount would vary depending on what plan an employee chose, so it can go up or down slightly, but for the most part it was a 6.2% increase over last year's rates. As a result of this increases, both COSTA and CSEA had an opportunity to negotiate increase in the health cap. And in both situations, the district did agree to increase the health cap, and they split the increase. The district would pick up 50% of the increase, and the individual bargaining unit members would pick up the other 50% of the health insurance increase. So today, I'm here before you to recommend that the board formally approve increase in the management personnel as well as confidential personnel to raise their health insurance cap an amount equivalent to what was increased for both CSEA and COSTA members, and that is that the district pick up 50% of the rate increase. This would increase the medical cap to $15,738 per year. The second item that I'm asking the board to consider is that during the negotiations with CSEA this past spring, the dental and vision cap was increased from $1,791 to $1,845. The second part of my recommendation is that the board consider this and raise the management and confidential personnel's annual contribution from the district for dental and vision to $1,845. So with that, I'll ask the board to vote on those two items.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Bratch? If not, can I entertain a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Mann, seconded by Mr. Nunes. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you, everyone, and have a great first day of school. And we'll see you Friday at convocation. Meeting adjourned.